Hi, welcome back to Binkerbellesyarning. Tutorial Tuesday, so it's October 8th. Yeah, don't have that many questions this week. I guess I've already answered most of yours already. I don't know. You can go ahead and ask any questions that you have in the comment section down at the bottom, and you can ask me anything you want. Doesn't matter to me. So Linda wanted to know if there's a difference between the hooks. So yes, put quite simply, there is. You have two different types of inlines. So that's the little hook part. Okay, so here, see how this one is kind of at a different angle than this one here. Okay, this one's a deeper cut. That one's a deeper cut. And this one here, this is a shallower cut, right? And it's more rounded than this one here. And then you get other ones that have a deep slit, but not a very wide mouth, right? It's a preference as to which you prefer, right? Size-wise, they're more or less the same. Because it is a standard numerical system and a standard measuring system, they're pretty much all the same. So when you get a 6mm in one hook, a 6mm in another hook should be the same. There might be minor differences from your cheaper hooks that you get from China. Yeah, so spend money on hooks, but you don't need to spend a lot of money on hooks to get good quality. You know, those hooks that you get, oh, I get 26 hooks for $2. Don't. Just don't. It sounds like a great price. It really does. But you will compromise quality if you do that. So don't. Spend money, but you don't need to spend a lot. I did a whole thing on tools of the trade. So you can go ahead and take a look at that. It goes into more details and the differences between your hooks. And comparing your metal to your wood, to your plastic. All right, so more or less it's a matter of preference. Compression gloves from Linda also. Are they all created equal? No, they're really not. Okay, I'll post two links in the description that gives you two really great options for compression gloves. This is somewhere where you do want to spend money because you can get really cheap ones out there, but they're not going to actually do anything. They'll just be gloves. You want ones that actually say compression gloves on them. And depending on the severity of your need, you might want to look into getting copper threading in it. So copper actually increases circulation. And that's where the problem comes. That's where you get pains in your hands most of the time. So from carpal tunnel, it's actually a lack of blood flow in your hands, all right, and that's why you get carpal tunnel surgery. So what they do is they unblock the veins in here, which increases blood flow to the hands. Those with tendonitis, it's a repetitive stress injury, so it means you're just doing the same motion over and over and over again. Same with like when you're typing, you get tendonitis in your wrists because of the way you're typing, or you're constantly, repeatedly doing the same thing over and over. So for compression gloves, make sure they say compression gloves on them. If you can, try them on. All right. I have very tiny hands, so finding ones that are the right size is very difficult. I had to get the pharmacy. I had to really dig at the pharmacy to find a sleeve that worked for me. So a sleeve, it's just a piece that goes, like it's literally a sleeve with a thumb hole. All right, so it cuts off here, right, and it goes to about here. And I have one for my right hand, and that has copper in it. Yeah, as for the gloves, those were a gift, so you can find those ones at the Shoppers Drug Mart. Again, I will post two links for online for Amazon that are good gloves. And do I wear them while I'm not crocheting? Yes, I do. Because of my illness, I tend to get tingling in my hands, or I start losing feeling in my hands, because it's a nerve disorder that I have. So wearing them, I don't know what it does, to be honest with you, like physically speaking. I don't know the whole reason behind it, but wearing my gloves and putting pressure on my hands really makes a big difference. It's the same as when you injured your knee, or you have fluid on the knee, and you put on a compression sleeve on your knee and it feels better already. It's the same principle. So Nancy was more of a statement than a question. And I really appreciate it, Nancy. I really do. Basically what she was saying was, thank you for making it seem like making crocheting and knitting and fiber art, really pushing the fact that it's an art form, as opposed to a kitschy craft. Because so many people out there in YouTube land that do crocheting videos and knitting videos, they do put it off as a very kitschy or very... with knitting, I find that a lot of the tutorials and the people that host knitting shows are quite snobby. I'm sorry if you host one. These are just the ones that I've seen, right? I'm not saying all of them out there are like that. Not by any means, right? There's hundreds of people out there, and I definitely have not had the time to look at everybody. But the ones that I have, they do come off as quite uptight, as opposed to crocheters who are a little bit more loose. Now, Smells Great Guy, he does a Smells Great Yarn, or girls, yeah, anyways, his handle is Smells Great Guy. He does knitting videos, he does podcasts, he does yarn hauls and reveals, and sort of does reviews, kind of in his own special way. He does reviews. I do enjoy watching him. Not by any means in that category. He's quite down to earth and he's quite funny, actually. I enjoy watching him. So that being said, yes, I'm trying to really portray to my viewers that this is not just a hobby, right? This is not just a kitschy craft, you know. It is an art form, right? It has been an art form for a very long time, and when we take a look tomorrow, you'll understand a little bit more what I mean when it comes to art. You put time and care and love into what you work on, so you should market it as an art form, as opposed to a craft. You know, we don't craft, right? We don't cut out paper and stick it to things and create, you know, kitschy stuff. We actually create pieces of art, and you should be proud of that, because you do beautiful stuff. All of you do, right? And I find a lot of people are way too hard on themselves, and they're too needy for validation when it comes to their work. You make mistakes. You're human. You're supposed to make mistakes, right? So you missed a stitch, not the end of the world. But once you get that finished product and that feeling of accomplishment, it makes a big deal, right? And you should be proud of your art. You really should. And classes in your areas. If you want to find a class in your area, give me an email, binkerbellesyarning@gmail.com, and I will do what I can to help you find a class. Okay, same thing with knitting. I'll do what I can to help you find a class, okay? Responses to my emails and my mailing out of items. I get lots of emails from you guys asking where your stuff is. I'm in Canada. Sending stuff to the States can sometimes take a long time, all right? Especially when it's a fiber product, because there are certain restrictions on what is allowed in and out of countries. And yeah, my stuff sometimes gets stuck at the border. Sometimes it's there in 3 days. It happens. So have patience, all right? I mail them out. I promise I mail them out. And because I get so many emails, I can't always respond to them. So when you send me your address for mailing out, I will mail it out. I got your email, right? I get tons of emails, and responding to all of them would take all day, right? So if you send me your address for a giveaway that you won, I promise you I'm mailing it out. It will be there when it gets there. And I can't give you a time limit always. The post office says, 5 to 7 business days, unless it gets stuck at the border. right? There's nothing I can do about that. So if you have a question or require a response to your email, I will respond. You can say please respond, and I will respond. But if you're just sending me your mailing address, I will just send out the package. I'm not going to necessarily respond to you unless I have a question. All right, and that's not a matter of me trying to be rude or brushing you off or anything like that. I just get a ton of emails. So yeah, that is it for today. Right, so again, any questions, comments, concerns in the comment section at the bottom, and we'll move on to our tutorial. So we're doing actually a puff stitch in Tunisian, and the reason I'm going with a puff stitch instead of a popcorn, like I said yesterday, is because it more resembles the knitting baubles, which is our last square. That's block 12. All right, so that's in 3 weeks. So see you at the tutorial. Here we are with the Tunisian puff stitch. As you can see, little bubbles there. All right, so I've already done the chain 30 as with every other square, and our foundation row. And remember, that's just simple Tunisian simple stitch. Okay, and then I've got a row of puff stitches here, and then a row of simple Tunisian stitch. Okay, and I've already got the first 4 loops on my hook. So remember, this very first one is the one that always stays on your hook. And then I've picked up 3 additional stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And again, just standard simple stitches. And this is on our 5th loop, all right? So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook and pull through. Don't make these tight because you won't be able to get through if you make them too tight. So yarn over, and insert and pull through. That's 2. Yarn over, insert under the same bar. That's 3, and then we yarn over and we pull through all of those particular loops. So only the ones that we've put on with the puff stitch. And this is what I mean, you want to make sure that they're not too tight, otherwise you're going to really fight with it. And of course, because this yarn splits, I have more difficulty with it, period. I love the feel and the colors that this Pantone comes in, but the fact that it constantly splits is very frustrating. All right, so there's 1 made, okay, and we're gonna lock it with a chain 1. All right, so we've now closed the puff stitch. All right, and then we're gonna pick up 4 more stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And in our 5th loop right here, I don't know if you can see that very well, we are going to make another puff stitch. So we yarn over, insert under the bar, pull through, yarn over, under the bar, that's 2, yarn over, under the bar, that's 3. And then we yarn over and we pull through. Okay, you want to make sure you don't pull through all of the stitches on your hook. All right, pay attention to where you are so that you don't miss a stitch. And then we chain 1 to close it. All right, and then we pick up 4 more. 1, 2, 3, and I have it. Missing a stitch here. Oh, there we go. That's where my mistake is. I missed a loop. So we just back up. All right, we're back to the puff stitch. I missed the loop way back here. That's okay. So I'll actually show you what you can do when you miss a stitch like I did. So here I missed the stitch way down here. I don't know if you can see that very well. I missed this stitch. Okay, that's okay because it can be fixed. So there we're going to 1, 2, and this is where we're going to add our extra stitch so that we have the same stitch count. So I go through the front bar, and then I go through the back bar as well as a second stitch. So there, now our stitch count is back to where it should be. And then here we are at our puff. So yarn over, 1, yarn over, 2, yarn over, 3, yarn over, pull through all the loops, yarn over, and chain 1. There we go. And then back to our simple stitches for 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then here we are at another puff stitch. I'm going to yarn over, 1, yarn over, 2, yarn over, 3, yarn over and pull through all of them, yarn over and chain 1 to close. Now puff stitches can be made with more than 4, like more than 3 loops. You can make them with as many loops as you want or as little loops as you want. It's simply how big you want the puffs to be and how much you want them to stand out. 3 and 4, and we're back here to our puff stitch, and there's yarn over 1, yarn over 2, yarn over and 3, and then yarn over, pull through all, yarn over and chain 1 to close, and then the remaining loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, and remember, always go through both loops on the end so that you get a nice clean edge. Okay, for those of you that need a refresher, don't forget to check out Next Step Tunisian and Tunisian dishcloths because it'll give you the basics. So we're going to return pass all the way across. Remember, chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2 all the way across. There we go. I know people say that I make it look so easy and I go so fast and blah, 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 blah. You gotta remember, I have years of experience. I've been crocheting since I was a child. I've been knitting since I was a child. And Tunisian was just the next step. So it combines knitting and crochet. All the principles of both. There we go. And understanding the fundamentals, you will get quicker, you will get neater. These things take time, they're not instant. Right, and as you saw earlier in this video, that I do make mistakes, right, just like everybody else. Right, so there's the bobbles, little puff stitches. My puff stitches are never neat and tidy, period. I don't know why, they just aren't. So there we go. And then you do a row of simple stitch, just like I did here. All right, so you're going to do a total of 30 rows as usual. So that's 28 actual stitched rows plus your foundation and your cast off. So 28 stitched rows, cast on, cast off, total of 30 rows. So that's that, and we will see you next week, Tutorial Tuesday, for the crochet puff stitch. All right, there you go.